Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Izzy, brand designer from Ottawa, Canada, and we are here with the very talented Hank Washington. Hank is an art director, designer, illustrator based in Georgia, and we are so lucky to have you with us today for like another time. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's good to be back and yeah, I'm ready to have some fun. So glad to be here for sure.
I mean, let's just like put like a little hint of like what's going to happen, but I hear wedding bells like already. So
You heard right. Yeah, I'm officially getting married next month, and I'm super excited. So, I'm marrying my love the what is it, the LOML, love of my life,
this is
Alexis, who is she's actually been on the stream. So we're getting married next month, and yeah, so we're in the wedding planning stage. We're kind of in the crunch time, so I thought it'd be a great topic to talk about today, and of course have some fun in Illustrator.
my gosh, this is going to be so awesome. I love like a good like love story and like the fact that you have both been on Adobe Live. This is great. And
Yeah.
I an Adobe Live love story. So here we go. I
Yeah.
want to say hi to everyone in the chat. We have Umacorn, we have Bruce. I saw CJ, I saw Carol. Thank you so much to be here with us. And if you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask them. And if you are not doing so already, please make sure to subscribe to both IG, to Adobe Live, and also YouTube to make sure that you stay up to date with all the wonderful stuff that is happening, like Hank's wedding.
Exactly. Stay in the loop.
So that's it, exactly. So yeah, Hank, please like take the mic, like introduce yourself for people who don't know you and walk us through what we will be doing today.
Yes, absolutely. So, hello, Adobe Live. It's good to be back to see some familiar faces and some new ones, hopefully. But my name is Hank Washington. I am a designer and illustrator here in the US, based in Georgia, not too far from Atlanta, just a little bit north. Been designing and just really creating for almost a little bit over a decade now. So you can say it's definitely take care of the bills, and it's been a fun journey so far. Been lucky enough to work with brands small and large, and just to have just to have the privilege to be in the space to really see companies grow and impact it through design and just art and creativity. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad I'm able to take you guys on this journey of something that I've been working on that's truly special to me, and definitely truly special to the occasion with this wedding coming up. So I want to show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes of some things that we already made, and ultimately we're going to go through here and see how we create some signage. So if you're in that season, whether you're getting married yourself or you have friends or family that's getting married, and you may be, the creative that they, rely on and kind of like push to like, hey, can you help us create beautiful signage? And hopefully, today we can cover some of that, and give you some tips and tricks and things that can make, your wedding feel special to whoever, to whoever it's for. So I'm excited and ready to have some fun.
Hey, Hank, can we maybe see your Behance page? Because we like I know that we have a lot of great projects there
Mhm.
that like everyone wants to see. So can we just bring it up? Yeah, like I mean, this is killer.
Absolutely. Yeah, so definitely go follow me on Behance and just click through to some past projects. A lot of fun projects I've been able to work on, just to be able to have fun with illustration, a little bit of branding, a little bit of animation, pretty much pretty much a kind of a salad bowl of just mixed mediums and just having fun with things. So definitely go check it out. And also you can follow me or go follow more of my work at hankdesigns.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram at fuzzies.co, which is where I'm basically have a lot of my illustrative work live on Instagram for sure.
Oh, yes. I'm hoping that we can talk more about the fuzzies today because they got me very intrigued.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's another great project to have some fun with. Absolutely.
Look at that. You've had a lot of like big clients too that you've been working with. So like
Mhm.
like to see these is great. And you have a lot of different styles too, as I'm like
Mhm.
seeing,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
been
great.
fun to work with some brands over the years, and I'm extremely grateful just for the amount of trust that they have in me, to create some of these, amazing pieces of work. And not to toot my own horn, but it does make me feel good to know that they have this level of trust to, it really empower my vision, and really just allow me to be the creative that, I want to be. And have it impact their customers, or their future, um, campaigns, or whatever the case may be. So really, really, really an exciting time to be a creator, for sure.
Oh, these are gorgeous. I could look at these like for like all day, for
Yeah,
hours. And please,
absolutely.
like, this is the time to toot your own horn. Like, I mean, you're on Adobe Live. Like, this is what people want to know about you. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And as fun and as great as it is to work with a lot of, major brands and things like that, but, some of the most rewarding projects have been just, people that are like close to me, that just trust me with their vision, for them to have, this really clear idea of where they're trying to go, and then say, hey, I just want you to, help me make the steps to get there. And of course, not in every aspect, but when they really give the trust of the creativity to me, that means much more. And it's really a good feeling to be able to collaborate and really bring what they're envisioning to life. So that's always kind of the big rewarding, the big rewarding factor when it comes to working on some of these projects. So yes, absolutely.
So speaking of vision, what's your vision for your wedding, as we will be working on the signage today?
Oh man. So after a lot of conversations with me and my fiance, we wanted to do something that felt a little bit untraditional. So we wanted to feel a little bit fresh, but also feel authentic to what we both enjoy, how we like to, have fun and things. So kind of what we thought about today was really just creating something that felt a little bit nostalgic, because my fiance, she's a really big fan of just 70s and 80s music, and she really loves the people like Anita Baker, like the OJs, just really just soulful music. And we was like, okay, how can we tie that feeling and almost make it feel a little bit modern to, what we enjoy seeing, and what we feel like is our like character, so to say, like when we are together, and almost individually. So we wanted to go on this journey of really branding out the wedding, just to make it more of just an experience versus just an event, and also make it something that people are kind of slow to throw away things. It's always nice to get a wedding souvenir, things like that, but we don't want it to be in the back collecting dust. It's almost like, what can we make that we can give our guests and the people that we want to be there for that special day, to almost feel like they have something they can hold on to for a while, and almost like
Mm-hmm.
use for another case. And also it maybe inspire them for that, if they're having an next event, or maybe having, a wedding for them, they can kind of embark on that same type of journey and make it truly theirs.
I mean, it doesn't like, you can't say that you're not a designer, because you're like, everything that you just said like screams like, I'm gonna brand my own wedding, because
Yeah.
I want it to be everlasting, and I want to have an
Exactly.
impression on people. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
you are speaking my language.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to explore today. So I really wanted to show this process with everyone, and really just have some fun with it. Um, so yeah, so let's just go ahead and dive into it. So of course, one of the biggest things that when people choose is when they do their wedding or start the wedding planning, is like, what are the colors going to be?
Oh
Like,
yes.
what is it going to be for the our color scheme? So we were it wasn't really much of a heavy lift for us. Luckily, we kind of had this. Was on the same page of how we felt about the colors. And even just looking up inspiration, when you look at, classic records or like old vinyl, like if you see like kind of the color scheme, they kind of have this very warm orange types of color schemes that, really pull in that 70s, 80s vibes of like their music, right? Because sometimes their music
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel almost warm and fuzzy in a sense, no pun intended. Um, but we really wanted to hone in on that. And of course, this being a fall wedding, we want to kind of really tie it in together to where we have this warm feeling. And of course, on the opposite side of that, we obviously have like a cool down, very autumn wedding. So of course we want to complement the leaves changing, the seasons changing, and really just play into that a little bit more. So once we established that, the first thing we did was we went into and started developing our own wedding logo. So not every wedding does that. Some weddings, they do have kind of like their names and things like that. So we really wanted to tie into something that was really us. We wanted to say like, all right, we're making Washington the name. So let's hone in on that. And really just kind of push that narrative. So what we'll go through is I'll show you kind of how we made some of these marks, just explore some typefaces that we thought was really neat. But you can see we really wanted to make a symbol that kind of obviously kind of embodies a W, but also kind of shows this forward progression, right? Like it's in any type of
Mm-hmm.
relationship, there's always ups and downs. You have like twists and turns, but the idea is that you want to continue to progress and move forward with the person that you're choosing to spend, the rest of your life with. So that's kind of what we, hone in on the symbolism. So shout out to Alexis, who did an amazing job art directing that. And of course, we wanted to hone in on just the last name. So we're going to really push this into some of the signage and really just, you know, make sure that the experience is actually what we want it to be.
Wow. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about this. So when are you getting married again? Like it's very soon.
Yes, I'm actually getting married October 8th. So we're roughly a little under 26 days. Yeah, 26,
Okay.
25 days.
Okay.
Reading my
Yes,
math.
that is like quite soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very soon. But we're having fun in the process, and it's a very small wedding, so we're keeping it very intimate. And so we wanted to make sure that it was an experience like solely for us and our family and our immediate
Mm-hmm.
friends for sure. So, um, to dive into that, of course, with any wedding or wedding event, there's always usually a welcome sign. So we want to kind of start here and see like what can we create to, become like the first things that people see past the invitations, right? They're at this time they're already here. They made the travel plans, accommodations. So now it's the big day, and they're coming up to the front gate or the front door, and now we're going to make a welcome sign. So let's go into it and see how we can create a sign here. Um, Now with my file set up here, I'm working on a 24 by 36 inch like frame. For the sake of the stream, we do have it in the digital, so it usually you'll convert this to print CMYK and have it bleed. But for the sake of this conversation, we'll just keep it very simple with just kind of a 72 resolution. But just make sure your
Mm-hmm.
files are print ready for anyone that's out there um, working on this. Um, so one of our prominent colors is this dusty rose color. So we're gonna go in and make that as our base, and we can start adding some nice fonts here. And of course, as nice as it would have been to kind of write this out, sometimes fonts do the job just as well when you looking for a very specific type of look and feel. So one of the typefaces that we use as kind of our primary is this font called Penny. It's really nice. It has a really nice like glyph
Mm-hmm.
collection, and it just feels, it feels very 70-ish with this kind of heavy bottom, narrow top, um, in the words here.
And I like how you put it almost like in a 3D effect
Hmm.
with like the logo. Like it works really
Hmm.
well for that because it's bulky, so it like gives you the opportunity to like
Absolutely.
give it depth.
Hmm. 100%. No, it definitely has a lot of it almost kind of like screams like, let's make this 3D a little bit
Yeah.
in this things as well. And it works great as flat as well. So whatever your taste is or however you see fit, um, you know, feel free to do what makes you feel right. So what I'm doing here is I'm going through and I'm basically just fixing the kerning a little bit. I want to tighten it up just a little bit to kind of make it feel a little bit more compact. And kind of some short keys. So if you're working on a Mac here, what you can do is click your cursor, put it in between like the space that you want to kind of tighten up. And if you hold down Option or maybe Alt if you're on a PC, if you hold that down and click the left arrow key, you actually can adjust the kerning as kind of a quick, push if you need to like tug a letter or tighten a letter, space something like that. So yeah, really neat trick to For anyone's out there that does a lot of kerning and wants to like stay off the, the front, what is it, the front window or the tight window.
Do you have a trick for some people who are still maybe trying to figure out how kerning works? It's a
Um,
big question.
it is. It's a very loaded question. I mean, I think, it definitely takes kind of seeing good turning compared to very like poor kerning. Um, Seeing those kind of side by side to really see kind of like how much of a difference it does make, and kind of know like you almost start to see it even at times when you don't want to see it or you're not even trying to look for it. Um, I think it's really just kind of a practice thing. Different letters besides each other is kind of have like different spaces, and sometimes it's not always numerical where you have to,
Yeah.
the math is always the same between each other. Sometimes it's just optical where you can just see and you can kind of feel like, all right, this letter feels a little bit farther from, you
Hmm.
know, this letter here. But I really don't see like it's kind of like a one clean cut like thing to do with kerning, but I think it's more just really a practice thing to just like continue to look for it, find examples of really poor kerning, and just find really great examples of like great kerning. And you really start to see like the difference once you compare and contrast. So what I'm doing here now is I expanded my type out. And what I did was just make sure I made a copy just in case something happens and I need to like, come back to it or fix anything. But if you have it selected, once you have it expanded, we just go up here to object, to path, and offset path. And what this does, it just basically kind of builds a rim around each letter. So it's easy to kind of make like an extruded version of this. You can see it kind of gets really thick really fast. Um, but I really need to kind of give us kind of a nice little even edge versus just applying a stroke. So we could put it there, and I'm gonna copy, delete, and I'm gonna hit Command F to put it right in the back in the space. So that way it groups it together properly. And speaking of groups, let's go ahead and group it here. And I'm going to go ahead and use our Pathfinder and combine it. So now it's all one shape, and I still have my original as the original shape. So what I'm gonna do is let me change this color here. And let's change this color to this orange. Oops. So now we
I
have
do.
kind of this little rim here.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
I just want to say that Paloma here is saying, I like the logo, very retro vibes, and love the meaning behind it. And also, Carol is wondering, like, is the invitation in the mail yet? Because she's worried.
No worries. We're actually planning on live streaming it, so we do plan on having it like very public, so anyone that wants to watch it. So uh if you guys want to just follow our page, it's actually on Instagram. All we do is Washington. You can get details, updates on just what's been going on and kind of the moving
Okay.
parts that's happening. So definitely follow us on Instagram. And of course, if anyone that's getting married or about to get married, make your Instagram page. You won't regret it.
And I think you said your fiance's name is Alexis.
Mhm.
So
Alexis Valdez. Mhm.
like Alexis is also watching and saying
Yeah.
our wedding logo is fire and the art director is checking in.
Now I'm sweating for real, so I guess
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely sweating for real because I remember when we were planning for the live stream. I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna let me do the wedding signage for the live stream." And it's like, oh, "Okay, don't mess up." I was like, "Okay, no pressure at all."
Stakes are high.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm basically building out this extruded part. So you can see I did repeated the same process and just extruded out the outer edge that we made before. It just added another, a couple pixels to make it a little bit thicker. And I basically duplicated here. And what I'll do is I'll change the color of this just so we can see it. Let me see, we'll make this kind of a darker orange. Actually, let's make this a yellow. That way we can really see it. Um, so now you can see like kind of the separation here. So this is the the copy that we had here, this is the one that we had from the original one, and this was the first one that we made. So we can kind of see it from a color code here. Now, what I'm gonna do here is go into select this tool here, the blend tool, which is one of my favorite tools from Illustrator. And what we're gonna do is select this one. It won't do anything once you make the first click, but once you click on the second shape that you want it to blend with, you can start seeing it has like this really nice connection to it, which is actually really funky. I'm actually digging this, but we won't keep it this way for the sake of the stream. So you can see that it does connect in, and basically what it does is it duplicates that shape all the way till it morphs into the next shape that you selected. So in between that original yellow shape and that orange shape is a bunch of different steps, is what they call it, to basically morph them together as one. So with that selected, I'm gonna go back to the blend tool, but I'm gonna double click it and it should pop up this window. And we're gonna click here and go to specify steps. And as you can see, there is 79 basically new shapes that's blended in between these two shapes here. So I like to keep it even. So I just gonna up it up to 100. And now there's 100 shapes. And let me go and double click. And we're gonna select that original shape, make it that orange. And now it's a solid color. So now I can go in with my direct select tool. If I select this shape, I can move it and it almost gives us like this nice little extrude here. So that way it kind of really looks like it's popping off the page. And even if you start to stretch it out a little bit more and we zoom in, oops, let me see. Stretch it out. And then if we zoom in, you can start really seeing just a little bit of like those shapes being pulled and separated apart.
I think like that adds to the retro vibe that you're trying to achieve too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So nice. So let's go in. And for the sake of this time, I'm just going to keep this as one here. And we're basically going to build out this welcome sign with our original logo. And we're going to do the same thing with all we do, which is our hashtag, is all we do is Washington.
Nice.
Kind of double entendre of all we do is win, but we're Washington.
Is this your hype song? All I do is win. This is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the
time.
That's the trophy song.
It is a trophy song. I actually started to curate a win playlist whenever maybe I'm feeling a little down or things are not panning out. I'm like, okay, I need to change this energy. So I have like a full playlist which a friend of mine collaborated with me. So yeah, it's great.
I don't know. You gotta have a quick pick me up, like go to. It's good to have a playlist. That's
good to have a playlist, and it does start with all I do is win. So it's like getting in that mood right away, just perfect.
Right. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's how you should do it.
Oh, I have dance parties in my office all the time, like by myself, and my cat is definitely judging me, but that's okay.
As they always do.
Exactly, as they should, right? It's a cat. It's a cat thing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, they always do a great job of just judging you silently.
Exactly.
No, that's good. You always gotta have a pick me up because it's definitely tough out here, and you gotta stay inspired as much as you can. So I completely understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we're just going through. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say Colby is saying, Hank, I'm excited for this stream, and yeah, everyone is like finding this awesome.
Well, welcome. Hope everyone having an amazing Tuesday. I'm glad I can be a part of it. Okay, so now, as you can see, we're starting to pull together this logo. So right now I have them as separate pieces, just in case if something needs to move or adjust. or we need to change the color, it doesn't impact the whole, the whole piece here. So now we kind of have a mark here, a kind of a title. And we'll just leave that up here for now, just to kind of see. And just in case, I usually try to make a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way, if I need to like switch the colors or something, I can always just select the blends because it's already grouped together. Oops, let me see. Oops, here we are. Okay, let me separate those. Okay. Now if I select the blends and click the color, which I'm just simply clicking I for the pen tool, now you can see that I have kind of another color scheme here. And we can probably get rid of this one so that way we can keep that simple. All right.
Every
So one
time you
thing
add a color, I'm like, oh, I like this more. I'm like,
yeah,
oh no, I like this one. Oh no, I like the
yeah,
first one. Like I don't know, I like everything. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah, it definitely becomes definitely becomes kind of a coin flip when it gets to that point. It's like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. We're just gonna let's let fate decide.
Oh, this pops.
um, yeah, so this is gonna separate kind of the names a little bit. It started to seem like they were kind of blending in a little bit too much, but just for the sake of having Washington pop up
Mm-hmm.
just a little bit more, we're gonna switch the color to kind of a really solid white, which I think can work out really nicely. So one thing I didn't show, and we'll definitely cover it moving forward, but is really how to find really nice glyphs for your fonts. So whenever you're searching for a nice font, or if it's like a display font, one thing to kind of look out for is kind of what their glyph options look like. This can really give your fonts a little bit more flair. It really just kind of like tails or whatever the case may be. It really adds kind of a different layer of how your font is displayed. So right now we have it very simple because this typeface specifically has kind of enough character where it's very thin at the top and then it kind of bulges out at the bottom. But just in case that you want to kind of like find like different um things with certain letters in your word that you have type out here, you can just simply highlight. And if you just kind of like once you release, you kind of see there's like a little button here that kind of pops up. It's almost like you see these options. And with this one here, you kind of have this nice little swatch that comes up. Not swatch, I'm sorry, like little tail that comes up that kind of does this little nice wrap above the A. So this can be really interesting to kind of put it in a container almost to really kind of put this word together. So again, this is something we'll explore here a little bit more, but just kind of a little Easter egg or nugget for all my type designers out there that's working in Illustrator.
We have
Okay.
Alexis here saying, I've been telling him to finish this welcome sign. Thank you, Adobe, for getting him to finish this task.
So petty, so petty. It's okay. It's all love. I know.
But yeah, it's like a little like tease. I love tease.
Always, always. She keeps me on my toes. All right. So now we're going through, and we're pretty much going to kind of repeat the same type of thing to where we can create this welcome sign. So now we're just going to put our names here, which is kind of another typeface that's really nice. It's called Balin. Um, really cool font. I think it has really nice, like this nice ligature. So we're gonna go through here and just kind of find some placement or where we can put our names, just so that if anyone shows up at the venue and they're like, I think we don't know Hank and Alexis. I think we might be at the wrong wedding. So we're gonna put it's the wrong Washington wedding. So we're gonna put our names at there just so they got clarity on it.
Yes. For anyone who might be interested in getting that font, where have you found it?
So this font is definitely in the Adobe font library. So if you go onto online as well, I have to find the artist. I'll make sure I'll see if I can find it before the live stream ends. But the designer is an amazing typeface created, but I can't remember the name, and I feel terrible for not
Maybe
remembering the name.
Maybe I can find it for you while you do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
As you can see, I can recognize fonts and recognize faces, but if you tell me names, it's out the window.
Oh my gosh. I understand. I'm the same. I used to waitress during my studies,
Hmm.
and I would know everyone's order, like that, and it was a breakfast place, so I would know everyone like 2 eggs, bacon, sausage, over hard.
Yeah, there you
uh,
go.
but ask me their names, no idea.
It's no idea. It's
No
out the
idea.
window. At that
Exactly.
point, they're asking for too much.
Exactly. There's only so much like I can do before having a good coffee in the morning.
Did you ever have like regulars, like people that always showed up maybe like the same time every week and got the same orders all the time?
All the time, which is well, I mean, not surprising, but we're in a city here, like it's not like
Hmm.
you expect that in a small city in a village, but Ottawa is big enough that it is considered a city, but small enough that it could still feel like a big community, which
Hmm.
is great. But yeah, like quite a few, and not just me. We were like a bunch of waitresses, and they like the regulars had their waitresses too. Like they would ask for specific people because they had developed a
Mm,
friendship with
yeah,
yeah, the crew, with which was it was nice.
I got you. Oh, that's nice though. It's good to always have someone that's always looking out for you, or at least, you know, looking for you every time they come in, especially if they can tip great.
Oh yeah. You know what? Those years, even though sometimes I still have server nightmares,
Hmm.
because like sometimes I feel like I dream that I have a lot of plates and I can't deliver.
Hmm.
But best teaching at like to be a business owner now, or like being a freelancer and like customer service and all that.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like I would be where I am today, or even talking to people, because you have to talk to strangers all the time, right? And you have
Hmm.
to like see what they want, ask questions. Best teaching that I did not know I was getting at the time for what I would be doing today.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. I think that those experiences are so unique to so unique to being a creator because it's great, it's easy to like be isolated and not necessarily have to talk to people. Usually you're the person that you're like the most seen in the invisible person like in some spaces because everybody sees your work but nobody actually sees you a lot, but being able to have that confidence and um that gumption to like be able to talk to people, develop relationships, like that goes such a long way as a
Such a
creator.
long
So,
way. Yeah.
definitely salute to you for sure.
So
That I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I can't find the font, but maybe because my researching
Oh, no.
skills. I,
No
f- I,
worries.
f- I found it on Creative Market.
Oh, nice, nice. Actually,
Uh,
that may have been where I've seen it before. Yeah, it may have been where I've seen it before.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Nice. So what I've
And
done
it's
here is the same thing, and I went ahead and just added a little bit of an in between the extrude and the actual letter, and just a stroke here, just to kind of give it a little bit of separation and help those letter pop a little bit more.
looks amazing.
Let's see. I think we may move this down since this is like our hashtag, and we'll probably just do like a welcome, maybe like a welcome to the wedding of.
It'd be funny if you say you're at the right place
Yeah,
instead of
don't
welcome.
worry. You know what? For the sake of the trend, let's do
Oh my goodness.
it. Don't worry. You're at the right place.
Oh, there you go. Alexis found the artist. The artist of the font is Andri. I'm probably gonna butcher that. Azizov. Azizov.
I
So
like
there
it.
you go. Thank you,
Well,
Alexis.
shout out Andrew and thank you, Alexis. Oh, this is hilarious.
I
Okay, I
mean,
got it. I
Yeah,
gotta get
it's
permission, but I gotta see if we can do this.
this
It's
is
kind of funny because like when you usually like when you're traveling, especially if you're going to a place that you never been before, it's almost like you always gotta ask that, like, are we at the right place? And it's like the first
mhm.
time you say, don't worry, you're at the right place.
I mean, I think it adds personality to the wedding, and specifically if you're going to brand it and making it an experience. I mean, I
Hmm.
think you can like quote unquote color outside the lines a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, it's kind of a hidden gem when it comes to a lot of just design, especially when you're working with like posters or creating things like that. Like the copywriting makes a huge impact on, how people really like perceive like the event or whatever it is they're trying to, understand. As much as design can be great, and of course we can obviously make
Hmm.
almost anything look beautiful, but when you have like really nice copywriting that really speaks to the identity of whatever it is, it can literally take your design that much further. Because not only are they seeing something beautiful, but they're also reading something that's
That's it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Tone and like what they call that tone and style, I think, in the full like brand identity.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
it, yeah, it does. Yes, I mean, if you're branding an ugly message, then
Good luck.
good, that's it.
Is You're
It makes it
right.
harder.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And unfortunately, I don't know too many creators that haven't been in that position where it's like, yeah, I had to do that before. So I
Oh,
understand.
yep. Oh, yes. Sometimes, like, yeah, the you need to be extra creatives because the problem in front of you is extra hard.
Yes. Absolutely. But it's very hard to take like what we do for granted. It's, to be in a space like this to, create for a living um and and have fun and really just have a community that understands those problems is huge, right? So it's just, there's only a handful of people who really know like what that experience is like,
Mm-hmm.
um with that. And of course, I'm even for you, like I've never worked in the restaurant industry, but I've worked at grocery stores, and there's usually uh there's usually customers that come in and they're always like, I was a bag boy when I was, this is back in high school, like almost like, yeah, almost in high school. And I was a bag boy. And, that was something that customers always like, hey, I want that guy that took my groceries out last time to come, do it for me. So I can understand. And of course, the tips was always amazing. So,
Yeah, I mean, tips put me to school, so
oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. I think it's like when you have a bad day, specifically when you're growing up and you're still maybe trying to understand like your feelings and all that, and then you
Hmm.
have to put up like that face. That was like personally a great learning for me. Like no
Hmm.
matter what you're going through, some other people like your my happiness or how I would greet people would make someone's day. So even if
Exactly.
I did not have a great day, just like put on that face and
Hmm.
big smile, serve that coffee, and probably you made someone else's day, even though your day was not the best, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. No, I get it 100%. And that's like, that's a big kind of a big sacrifice to make sometimes, because like, it's there's nothing wrong for, having time for yourself. Like if you're just feeling it, you're just feeling it. Which is
Hmm.
definitely something, I had to learn, over these past couple of years. Is like it's okay to feel, what you feel. Like there's nothing wrong, and there's not like a bad thing. But when you know, and sometimes you do have to make kind of like that conscious decisions, like, okay, even though I am feeling something, maybe this is a case where it's not necessarily about me, and I have to not
That's it.
still hone in my feelings, but understand like the bigger picture of things, So
That's it.
it's a nice balance.
Definitely. And I think we all went through it with the last few years that, with everything that happened in the world.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
But now
Uh,
happy days are like among us.
yes, 100%. Good vibes only.
Good vibes only, wedding bells only.
There you go. There you go. It's officially turn up season.
Yes.
Mm.
So for
And
someone who may not be sorry, it's just like to look for glyphs like when they're choosing their font because I know like this
mhm,
is there's a lot of font like intrigued people
mhm.
here. Do you have a trick for that?
So if you're in Illustrator and if you're not sure if one, even if the font that you want to use has glyphs, one thing that you can do is simply, if you select something that you have, typed out here, but if you go up to type and you go up here and click glyphs, it'll pull up a little window, and I'll pull this out here so we can see it a little bit clearly. It'll actually show you kind of what the options are. Um, and glyphs are kind of like I kind of see it as like when you kind of put like what is it like parsley on top of a nice meal or something like that. Like you don't want to overdo it. It does, even though it can feel really nice, but sometimes too many or too much of it can take
Mhm.
away from, the beauty of what you're actually using in the first place. So it's really you kind of want to use your kind of design discretion to kind of know like, all right, here's kind of a good opportunity to use this type of glyph or, or use one at all. And also you can find like different symbols of things that you wouldn't normally find or that you would have to, to make. In the case if I wanted to do an ampersand instead of, the and, like I could probably find that in the glyph, in the glyph window here. So I can type in and now I got like a nice glyph that can obviously feel, different than if I were just to type it out. Um, and of course, if you're working with any type of like uh, designs that are in different languages or have different accents marks, this is usually where you can
Yep.
find, those marks here as well. But this is really kind of a good indicator of how well thought out a typeface is because it may be beautiful on the display, but you'll know you have a really solid one once you see how far the designer has gone into a glyphs and like giving you options for, different cases. So I think the big takeaways is one, understanding if your font actually has glyphs. If they do, how in depth does it go? And of course, don't overdo it. Like just use enough to get your point across. And once you feel like your point has gotten across, you don't have to overdo it. Just kind of just scale back and simple is sometimes the best option. But again, that's very subjective. That's kind of my approach to it. But
Mhm.
if it feels right for you and it's something that you want to continue to do for whatever it is that you're working on, like be my guest, have as much fun as you want to, you want to have with it.
Nice, thank you.
Mhm. Absolutely. Awesome. So now I'm just going in and just adding a little bit more of kind of like just small messaging here. Uh, as you can see, this is where we actually added some of the glyphs here and some of the stylized letters. And I'm a huge fan of this like kind of tail that kind of sneaks above kind of sneaks above the next letter. You can see like how the W really hugs that E really nice. A little bit of tension here with this E, but it makes sense just the way that this H is moving. So not really going to mess with that one too much. Okay, so what we have now is we have our kind of the name, of course. We want to make sure that people have verified that they're at the right place. So of course we want to make sure that we have like the right date and time. So that way they're not showing up on the day after the wedding or the day before, which that can get weird. And so let's
That
see,
could
we're
get
going.
weird.
Can you imagine like prepping all that? And he's like, "Oh, we're a day late. Okay,
Whoops.
you guys are cleaning up for the night before." Like, okay,
Exactly. Oh,
all right, okay. All right, so we can kind of see some ways that we can lay out the date. So let's kind of explore this off the canvas and we can kind of compare. So we can always do it as the full month, and usually it's like the 8th and it's comma 2023. Of course, we want to let's see how it looks maybe with like the TH as separate. And scaling is also another thing too, like that's kind of a nice thing to start thinking about when you're working with fonts too as well. Naturally, it'll make sense. Like if I was to do this again, I would put just TH right behind that. But it does
Mm-hmm.
make it a little lengthy, probably a little longer than I need it to be. And of course, like the TH is not necessarily not necessarily the main focal point of this. I mean, make sure they know like the day, the month, and hopefully they understand the year. So it's not too late. Um, so I think this is kind of another good opportunity to know like when to separate your elements. Typically when I'm writing out a lot of like titles or anything that's like maybe like 5 to 6 words or less, I usually will separate them just in case like if I need to stack. And it gives me a lot of flexibility to know like, okay, I can kind of play with hierarchy a little bit. So in
Mm-hmm.
this case here, I can separate this and let's say I put nothing but October on this here, on this kind of like text box here. And then I'll duplicate it if I hold Alt or Option if you're on Mac. Just duplicate it, and then we'll put the 8th on another one. And of course, we can duplicate it here, and we'll put the year. And this automatically kind of like, just because even just how we did it here, because I have it stacked, it kind of eliminates the need of a comma because you can almost read it as kind of line by line. And you kind of know that kind of separate things here. But this is kind of the good thing of like being able to, separate each like word or like, letters together to kind of give you a little bit more flexibility on how you want to lay it out. Um, which we can
Do
do
you sup sometimes your th or stuff like after the
like after
what's the
typing
word
it
that
out.
yeah, thank you. That's the I was like the eighth
Yeah.
with the like yeah.
No, I get it. We've been there. Yeah, sometimes if in this case I am typing it out here, even if I was to duplicate it, I'll probably do another one just to leave it out or maybe just
Mhm.
make it as its whole separate thing. Which is actually a good point. I think that's probably something we'll do to
Because
let's
you
just
can
make it a
sup
separate.
it like you can sup it directly in the text too.
Hmm.
So you don't have to actually like change it manually. So it
Yep,
does it for you. Yeah.
absolutely. Oh no, that's a really good point. So even with that, we can do like the touch type tool, which gives us a little bit of flexibility with like if you want to scale or like move it down or even turn it, which in this
Oh,
case we won't
cool.
necessarily do that for this one, but even here, let's see, we pull up our character. Oops. Like I said, we can sub it down. It's
Yes.
like almost like to here. Yeah, like a
Correct.
subscript. Yep. And then exit out.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, just another great option. That's why I love Adobe Live. You just like get tips on the fly.
Like all the things. Yes. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm learning a lot from your process right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a really good option too. And I think too, if you really just want to have some fun, like we looked at before, if you actually go in and you hold down or like click and hold the text button here in the tool section, and if you go up here to the touch type tool, kind of the short key for that is Shift T. It actually gives you some really neat options. So if you wanted to, let's say we wanted to really like push this O out or like make this O like a big, character or something like that. It actually gives you a few options where you can actually scale it up. And you actually just can manipulate it right in the actual text. So even if I wanted to change this letter, I can go in and say, let me see, if I go in and say, this is O, and of course I can spell better than what I'm
Mhm.
showing here. But if I change the letter, it doesn't affect the actual um, design settings that you
Design.
have. It'll
Hmm.
automatically scale what you already done. And this can be a really good opportunity if you're like, if you're really want to kind of like get some wonky text and you want to be able to have it flexible to be able to like change the actual word or the letter later on. This tool is really neat to give you that type of option. Um, so yeah, so definitely have some fun with that. Of course, you can scale if you want to thin one of the letters. This is really good for. I've seen like a lot of trends now where each character is has its own identity, which I think is so dope. And a
Yes.
lot of work that I've been seeing. And of course, if you just want to like turn in and have some fun, like get crazy with it. But in this case, it's a wedding, so we don't want to get too funky. So we're gonna kind of keep it keep it very simple.
Things can
Um,
get too weird.
yes, absolutely. Real easy and real fast.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, so again, I'm just kind of just laying out some things here to really see like what some ways I can lay out this type. I think I want to highlight the 8, since it's kind of that's really a big deal. And of course, maybe we can have October. Maybe we split it. Maybe we have like October and then we have like 2023 on this side. And maybe, we can still have our TH, but I wonder if we did something like maybe it's at, yeah, or what if it
Having
kind of
this
like
like,
was in here or kind of like offset a little bit.
oh, offset. I think you read it more as the 8th
Yeah.
when it's
Hmm.
offset.
Uh,
Interesting. We're witnessing like the creative
yeah.
genius at work right now.
I know this is just experimentation. We're just having fun. So if anyone that's like watching that's like not familiar with the creative process, it is a lot of experimentation. Like we're definitely scientists. I'll tell anyone like designers are scientists. Like we probably do a lot more experimenting than the average scientist
Oh
does.
my gosh. Yes. A lot of iterations, that's for
A
sure.
lot. A lot. I don't know. I think this is standing out to me. I'm really
Yeah.
loving kind of like how this is.
Bruce is saying that's a cool idea. So it's Bruce approved.
Bruce approved. Okay, Bruce. Say no more. So I'm not gonna question it anymore because Bruce said it was cool. So we're gonna do this.
Exactly. There you go.
But again, it's always good to make sure like just duplicate everything so that way you can just move it to the side and you may realize like, this might not be working as well as I anticipated to. So we're just gonna go, you can always go back to the drawing board and like find those things here.
Does your
Um,
artboards get really, really messy?
oh, 100%. You have no clue how messy they can get.
You're like, I'm trying hard here, like to keep it clean because I'm live.
There you go, exactly. Oh no, this is definitely more tidy than the average, like my average like workstation here. Like usually it's just like all over the place. I'm actually glad I only got 3 layers because I feel pretty good about that.
Yes, they're not named though. Some people might come after you for that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you haven't passed because it's your wedding. So
There you go. There you go. Let me see. I think I'm gonna add some dividers here to kind of like let's like separate them a little bit. Actually, let's make these strokes so that way we can change the weight. Fairly simple. And we'll start at 10. We'll make these fairly thick just to kind of feel cohesive a little more. Let's see. And what's kind of weird with some of these is like it's a little bit of a kind of a balancing act when you have like one side is kind of longer, and of course you may feel like you want the 8 in the middle, but then it's like,
Mhm.
all right, one side starts to feel heavy. So maybe there's like an alternative way we can show things. Like we can almost do something like maybe instead of the numbers of 2023, like what if we spelt out maybe half of it? Like what would it look like for
Oh,
2023? And,
my
oh,
go-to for whenever I feel like this, it's just having the numbers with a dot. So it would be like it's the 10th month, right? So
mm-hmm,
10.8.2023. Then I can
mm-hmm.
center that like easily. But yes,
Oh, nice.
please.
I like that. That's a really good idea. I've seen that before, and I think it works really well. It definitely, if you're looking for like that really nice, elegant feel, like I can
Mm-hmm.
see like um, a really nice typeface that's kind of like almost like this like serif, I don't know, like I don't know, I can see it. It's hard to kind of describe it, but I'm a fan of those like just numbers and dots and things like that. And
It just like
um,
makes it clean. And so I'm doing a lot of posters for events that have a start date and an end date, or even
hmm
like art exhibits and stuff like that. So
hmm
it's not just one date, it's like multiple dates with the
oh,
vernissage, opening, and all that. So it's
hmm
like finding a way to make it clean, that
yeah.
like all the lines that I can have, like I repeat it without, yeah. So that's
Absolutely.
usually my go-to.
No, I love that. I love that. I think that, yeah, especially like when you're trying to like tie it back to the branding, like
Hmm.
that's always a good move for sure. Yeah. And kind of another neat trick too is if you're ever like working with like different fonts, and let's say like this one is a little bit more like scaled up or something like that, and you trying to like even it out naturally, you can always go in and like scale it down and, have it kind of line up here. But if you want to just kind of match the settings of another font that you may already have in place, you actually can just use the eyedropper tool and select the font. And you can see like it's a little T that shows up on the eyedropper tool. And basically it just says like you can copy the almost like the same settings. So if I was to click here, it'll scale it down pretty much well to that same size of that font. So pretty much you can treat your fonts kind of like colors.
That's the best thing that you can do, specifically in the exploring phase. And you're like, oh, I like that better. And then
Yeah.
it's like, quick, quick.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm starting to feel pretty good about this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just outline it. Let's just make everything expand. I feel like these probably can go up a little bit. Let's just do it like an even 10.
Oh,
And then we
Bruce
can
is
like,
saying, I agree with Izzy. I do that with phone numbers too, with the dots. That is a great
mhm.
idea. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, especially phone numbers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, I can definitely see it with phone numbers because like those M dashes and regular dashes, they always throw me off a
Brackets.
little
Yeah,
bit.
that's
I'd be
it.
like, "Ah, I don't know what to use."
It can get messy really quickly. Too many glyphs, which we're not trying to have, right?
Yeah, exactly. Too many glyphs.
Yes. That should be the hashtag for our stream.
There you
too,
go. Too many glyphs.
too many glyphs.
The glyphs that keep on giving.
Exactly. Or glyphing.
Or glyphing. Ooh.
Ooh.
I I I see what you're doing there. I smell what you're stepping
Oh
in.
yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I'm really big on dad jokes, and it's just here though, not in real life, just on live on Adobe
Yeah.
Live for some reason. It's like my Adobe Live personality.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the live stream, but it always brings the dad jokes out of you.
Yeah, I guess it's the fact that you're live. By the way, time is going by so fast because we only have like 22 minutes left.
Jeez.
I know.
Okay.
I should
Okay.
like we got really much into it, and I didn't give you a timestamp earlier.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you have fun. It's okay.
exactly. So I just want to say for the community, if you'd like to be doing the exact same thing as Hank and maybe doing your own wedding invites on Adobe Live, if you are on Behance, make sure to click that guest recommendation button, and you can either recommend yourself or even a friend, and be part of the awesome Adobe Live community.
Absolutely. Come hang out with the good people at Adobe, especially Izzy.
Aw, thank you. It's the dad jokes.
There you go. That's what won. That's what won. All right, son. Again, we're just kind of going through and just pretty much repeating the same steps that we did before. Which I think could be really nice to can do here. Um, and as you see, I'm only using just two typefaces, just really just to kind of like keep it a little bit cohesive. But the beauty of this one is beauty with this technique is that you're able to, again, doing this extrude with the blend tool, it almost feels like kind of a bold and a kind of a regular font. So this is kind of a good excuse if you don't want to switch up too many fonts or kind of find a body one and a title one. Feel free to explore different ways you actually show one font. And especially like with looking through glyphs and seeing like the different variations that the fonts have, it almost gives you a palette of things that you can do with them for sure.
And often too, whenever you are searching for fonts, there are some designs that are using the fonts that you're looking at.
Hmm.
So that can also like spark some inspiration, because sometimes like you see something put together and you don't think that you would have seen that, but then another
Yeah,
designer did, which is awesome.
absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to see it in context because sometimes I'd be like, this font won't work, and then you'll see somebody do something like at least in the ballpark of what you want to do, and it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and of course we'll go ahead and put our location under the name, just so that we can kind of give it a little bit of hierarchy.
Yeah,
Let's
this is
see,
looking good.
awesome. And then of course we want to. It feels, even though it does feel really good, I think it's maybe still feeling a little flat. So maybe we can maybe separate some of these sections of it because we have, of course, like our kind of a disclaimer here, and then of course we have kind of our main focal point of the wedding title, and of course we have our date and information. So maybe this would be a good time to um, kind of like play with some of the brush tool, maybe separate some of these things. Um, see if we can separate this with like color or something like that. Um,
Will you add your logo to it too?
oh, that is a really good point. Thank you. So
And
we can actually go back here to our little library. Um, and maybe we just grab one of these logos. Let's grab this one here. You can see I'm a huge copy and paste type of guy,
oh,
so
ditto.
I'm always like, all right, let me have one window open for every one thing and then everything else. Um, let's actually grab a hollow one. So this one, we actually have it out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be a nice like background, even like a as
Oh,
a pattern too. Like I could see that being at the back of both of your names.
mm, let's try it. So let's see.
By the way, you don't have to keep that just because I said so. Like the don't worry, you're at the right
No,
place.
no, we're keeping it. No, I'm committed. I'm committed. We're gonna do this. Don't back out on me now, Izzy.
Okay, okay. Trust the process.
Trust the process. There you go. Um,
We we have a question from Bruce here. So Hank, do you have to post all this to social media? Um, internet. Oh, sorry, I'm like, hearing something.
I think so.
Yeah, hold on. I don't think. Okay, sorry, Bruce. Hank, do you have to post all of this to social media, internet, and such, or for the traditional crowd, or is it for a traditional crowd?
Good question. That's actually a question I'm gonna let Alexis answer. She's been more than likely we will. I think we do want to have a little bit of fun of just, really showing like what went into, creating all these pieces and things like that. And even though it will be special for our guests to actually see it on, that day. We do want the people that, that's been following us and then that has watched the live stream to be able to see some of these, signage and designs and branding of everything. So, and we have a lot more things that are in play that unfortunately we won't have a lot of time to get into, but you'll definitely see a lot more as a result of everything that we worked on here. So, in short, I would say yes, but I'm gonna ask my real boss just to make sure we definitely make sure that everyone has a chance to see it as well for sure.
So there you go. So make sure to stay connected with Hank to
Mhm.
see all that beautiful design and, you know, wedding stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nice. So yeah, so what I'm doing here, I'm basically just putting these elements together. We may have to um manipulate it just a little bit, but I do love the idea of having a pattern Almost if we were to, if we were to make, this color, but let's say it's a little bit of a deeper
Mhm.
pink. So maybe let's bring it kind of over just a little bit here. Um, let's kind of bring it more in this case. And of course we can always like lower the opacity or things like that. But almost if it was kind of like, it kind of set like a watermark at the back of
Yeah.
it. And it kind of another neat trick too is like here, if I am having trouble like seeing it as a whole, if you're working on a canvas, you can actually go up here to view and trim view, which cuts out everything. So you can just kind of see like what things look like right there on your canvas. Another little nugget.
I love the trim view. I always, yeah, it's my savior, specifically when my mood, like, well, my files get so messy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I actually love that. I think it
We
kind of
can't
has
see
layers.
it.
Let's see. Oh,
We, yeah, just as
I may
we,
have loaded that
it's
past it a
hard
little
to
bit too much.
see.
Let me see. Um,
It
let's
does
up
add a
it.
bit of depth.
Hmm. And we may can clean it a little bit. Like I wonder if we had it straight and almost had it like repeat.
Oh yeah.
But that could be really neat. Um, so maybe let's see. Let's exit out and let's see if we can probably play with a little bit of patterns. Um, so a couple ways we can do this. We can always have it selected and let's go to pattern. Let's click make. And it's already kind of looking interesting with this. Um, but I can already see that it may be an opportunity to maybe tweak some of the levels of these like shapes. So you can see like this one is obviously like taller in the middle, but I wonder if we were to like bring this one down a little bit more
Oh,
and kind of make it really like a wave. And this might be a good opportunity to, let me see, let's pull up pattern options up here. And let's see if we did it like a brick. It might see. And with this pattern tool, it's one of my favorite like ways to make a pattern. Of course, there's like you have like the radial and some of the mirror, which we can go over here in a second. But this is a really neat tool to like really create like a really custom pattern. It does take a little bit of experimenting. As you can see, like some of these things are not working out as great as I would like them to, but it's a really good way to kind of like test ways that you can really display like your patterns, and you can almost like really tweak it in detail of like, all right, this is kind of where I want things to sit. Um, let's see.
oh, this is close.
It's almost there. It's like small things that are not like lining up the way we would like it, but it's okay. Let's see. So maybe we need to let's cancel. Let's go back out, and maybe
So
we need to try it manually to see. It can be something simple as like just kind of tweaking or maybe mirroring it.
Bruce is saying, looking good with that pattern in the background. Omacorn, a very nice retro E.
There you go.
And CJ, who is our moderator for today, hey CJ, has added your Instagram. All we do is Washington, like, to the
Awesome.
chat. So
Awesome. Thank you, CJ. We appreciate that for sure. See.
this is always the part where it's like the nitty gritty details
Yeah,
that are like finicky. They're not necessarily the most fun to do, but so important to do.
so important. No, 100%. And but it's rewarding, right? Like it almost feels like yeah, it's a lot to do, but like once you get it right, it's like, oh, that's so
Ah,
like satisfying.
yes. Yeah.
It's super satisfying.
It's like then you play the song. All I do is win.
Yeah, there you go. T-Pain shows up out of nowhere. You just like burst through your living room like
Exactly.
the Kool-Aid guy.
Hmm. Yes, that's it.
Exactly.
Also, I can't believe I just sang on Adobelive. That was the first, I think.
Yes. I can take that title. I have made
Oh,
easy singing on W Live,
yes,
so
that's it.
I rock with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we'll run into a little bit of a roadblock, but that's okay. So I think what we're going to do is just keep it simple and we're just going to even it out all together. So that way it just kind of like easily lines up the way we want it to. Let me zoom in a little bit more.
That's it. So you're selecting with the direct selection tool all your
Mhm.
anchors that like helps you just manipulate that section of your pattern
Correct.
or like object.
Correct. And what I'm doing is just holding down shift and just dragging it up and down. So that way it stays kind of in a straight line. And this is like really good to make sure that, you know, nothing kind of like gets off centered or offset when you're moving them. So yeah, definitely have some fun with that. But I think this could be good because it'll allow us to, I think it allows to get us more of like kind of feel like a semi-seamless pattern. Um, which is okay. You know, of course we want perfect, but we got to get what we can get. Let's see.
I mean, yeah, we have like 10 minutes left. So
Yeah,
yeah, we do what we
absolutely,
can in the time frame that we
absolutely,
have. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, which again, you know, I know we only were able to cover kind of the welcome sign, but this is another good opportunity just to really, you know, you can utilize this technique for a bunch of different things. So being able to, you know, use your menus, if you have like unplugged signs or even like table cards, you know, whatever those cases is, you know, you can still use this technique, especially if you want this kind of be like a type heavy project that you're working on. And of course, like when you're branding, look for opportunities to break pieces like maybe from your logo or maybe find elements from your logo to use as like patterns like we're doing here, and also like creating, you know, just things that like really tie everything together outside of just the colors and types. So yeah, just have some fun and don't be afraid to be untraditional when it comes to your wedding.
I I have a friend who got married 2 years ago and
Hmm.
asked for help on the design part. And she wanted to have all of her wine labels to match the branding of
Ooh.
the wedding, which was super nice. Yeah, so I did like the menu cards. I did, I think, the seating chart, and then I branded the wine bottles that were on the table as well. So everything matched and it was super
Oh, that's
nice.
epic.
Yeah.
That's epic. I hope they kept the bottles.
Oh, yes. And I kept one too.
There you go. That's there you go. That's how you do it. Okay, so we won't get perfect, but I think we just have something. Oops. No wonder it was. I think it was a little bit too easy.
So we're back in the pattern
Back in
option
the.
menu.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you see, it's probably not working out the way we wanted to. Oops, I double click. Well, another trick, if you want to just exit out of it, just double click outside of the box. um, so yeah, so it's not working the way I wanted to, but that's okay. I think we can still kind of like have still utilize it the way we want, and just we can just kind of tweak it the way we see fit. And let me see, this is at 60, so let's change this. Let's change this to 55. Of course, I'm not looking for perfection, but we just want it just perfect for us.
That's it.
There you go.
That goes back to your experience that you were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can tell you, it's been a lot of like just projects that I worked on that I was just so intricate on like everything, like every minute detail. And then the client looks at it as like, okay, it's perfect, let's ship it. And it's like they don't even pay attention to half the things that was on there that was wrong with it. It's like, okay,
Uh,
cool.
that's
All right.
part of the job sometimes, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
We
But
have Carol here saying this could be a cool wallpaper pattern for a small space, and even thinking if you have a selfie or like a photography
mm,
like pop
yep,
up as the background could be super cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love that idea. So yeah, so I think that's kind of like what we can work with. And with that, you said we have like little, I say like what, 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left. Maybe we can make
We
a
can
pattern.
like I mean, technically it depends. Okay, so it depends. Like, do you have a big conclusion? Because if you have a big conclusion, then I would say we have 4 minutes. But
Yeah.
I would.
No, I won't say
uh,
we won't stay with a big conclusion. We'll just kind of keep it simple with what we have.
okay. Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, again, I think kind of the big takeaways just from this one is just really just having some fun with the blend tool, seeing some ways that you can really put your fronts to use, like understanding like just the different variables and things that you can have, and of course just having fun with pattern. But again, even though we're doing this for a wedding, this is always something you can just do for any type of invitation that you're working on, or any type of signage if you have that responsibility on your plate. Just have some fun with it, like just play with hierarchy, play with fonts, play with the blend tool, and just practice layouts. Again, just get messy. As you can see, like just from here, we've already butchered this artboard in the little time that we do have. So you can imagine when you're like getting lost in this and how much fun you can really have. So yeah, just enjoy it, and you have some fun with it for sure.
Can you zoom in for everyone to have a good look?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see trim view.
Yeah, look at that.
Hmm.
And you could easily, now that you have those elements too, you could easily take the Alexis and Hank to be put on the invitation, or even
Mm-hmm.
if you're extra and you have someone doing all your social for the day,
Yeah.
like I could easily see that as like, okay, like beginning of the day for, and then
Yeah.
that like a social media story. uh,
Absolutely.
so that's the fun thing when you're building those assets. Now you can like multiply them for other
Mhm.
stuff after.
100%. Yeah, from everything from like pins to stickers to maybe little emblems on napkins, like whatever the case may be. It's like you literally hit the nail on the head. Like just use the elements the way you see fit.
This is amazing. I love how you also like to put some emphasis on specific things, right? Like you have that added stroke in the Alexis and Hank that like
Mm-hmm.
draws you in. And then that October 8th, 2023 still draws you in a lot, but like that's the thing that you see
Mm-hmm.
second.
Yeah.
I guess that's hierarchy, but also I think it's like like the type is almost the same like height as the don't worry, you're at the right
Mm-hmm.
place, but I see that last
Mm-hmm.
almost. Like I see like, yeah. So hierarchy is so important too in designing something like this at an event.
Absolutely. Definitely. And I think, there's definitely room to like, play a little bit more with, the scale and everything else. But, I think a good like rule of thumb, in most cases is that, reading left to right, up and down is usually where, naturally people will read. Of course, there's some coaches that have it different ways, but this is kind of a good way to know, like, all right, the main thing, we want to make sure that people are coming to the right Washington wedding. And then, of course, they want to make sure that the next thing they read is just re-emphasizing the first thing that they saw: who, when, where, what, everything else. So, as long as those questions are answered, then you pretty much got you a solid piece.
Yeah. Do you have a hashtag for your the big day? Like
Yes.
all we do is Washington?
Yep, that's it. That's the hashtag. All we do is
Nice.
Washington. So definitely.
Yeah.
So if you've seen the live stream, you promote it, use that hashtag. Yeah, and then we'll make it to the big day.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so can we have a quick recap of everything that we have done today?
Yes, absolutely. So today what we did is we created a welcome sign that is themed around a wedding, which my wedding specifically. And what we done is we played with different typefaces where we explored the glyphs of the typeface to know like how to use them, when to use them, when is it too much, when is it not too much. We also played with the blend tool to know how to basically give these fonts and these typefaces a little bit more character, which also gives you the option to work with one fund and still be able to make different variations of it for hierarchy. And of course, we play with placement, right? So even with these funds, we're able to lay out kind of like the hierarchy and how things are placed and make it feel natural and cohesive with everything. So everything just from like separating our different words and different elements, playing with sizes of the fonts, and even working with tools of how you can make shortcuts and playing with like the settings and font style. So just explore all that. And of course, we ended it with like creating a really nice pattern that allow us to add just a little bit more oomph into our work to give us a little bit more depth and create a piece that now you can go get printed and have it hanging out in your courtyard or whatever the event that you are making this for.
And for this specific sign, right, your welcome sign, how do you imagine it to be printed? Just so like the community can dream a little bit and
Yeah.
imagine that they're attending in person. Will this be on an easel? Like how, like, yeah, an easel?
Yeah, so I'm picturing this sign would probably be printed on like a foam board. So it's a little thick, but it has a really nice matte finish. And it's also on like a really nice, kind of I almost see like kind of a little nice wooden easel, maybe with some complementary flowers that kind of like hangs off the side of it. And it's sitting right in the front like door of whatever venue that you're working on. So when people literally get out the car and they're walking up or walking towards the entrance, this is one of the first branded
Okay.
items that they see
Yeah.
as soon as they get there, so they know they're in the right place.
Well, I mean, this is amazing. We have Alexis in the chat saying it's beautiful. So, hey, it's Beyonce approved.
There you go.
So this is great. Bruce is saying totally see the full vision. Umakarn, like great font choice, and Jack is saying this is beautiful. So you lots of love in the chat for
Thank
your
you.
design. Hank, where can we find you?
Yes, so I am across the internet. So if you guys are on Instagram, you can actually follow me at fuzzies.co. That is where I am keeping a lot of my work nowadays. You also see more of my work at hankdesigns.com. I am also on Twitter at Hank_I am. And of course on Behance at Hank Washington. So pretty much any of those places, feel free to reach out. I would love to talk, and yeah, just that's where you can find me.
There you go. So I'm gonna like ask CJ to add all of those link in the chat, so you
Mhm.
can go and hit that follow button. Stay tuned stay tuned and join illustrator Wade Acuff as he
Recording
plans
stopped.
his first self-published book on his new show Adventure Bound. And thank you so much, Hank, for everything today. Like you got me so inspired, and you also did that for the community. So thank you so much, and until next time.
Awesome. Thank y'all.